The first-place Niagara Thunder took on the Nova Scotia Keltics for the Maritimers' opening match of the season, but it was who was playing at inside centre for the Nova Scotians that garnered more attention than usual this past Holiday Monday in Brantford. Pictou County MP and Canadian Defence Minister Peter MacKay made good on a promise to good friend and coach Troy Myers of Nova Scotia that he would lace up the boots with former teammates Morgan Williams and J.D. Wheeler to celebrate their 10th anniversary since they all played together. Originally scheduled for just a 20-minute stint, MacKay, who is 42 and still plays in the summertime with the Pictou County club, acquitted himself admirably over the first 40 minutes as the Thunder had a slow start, getting only 3 Steve Piatek penalties and a try by fullback John Goldie for a 16-0 Niagara lead. MacKay came off at half and the floodgates opened for the Thunder as they scored 5 second-half tries for a final score of 49-5. Paul Forrest scored the lone Nova Scotia try. After the game, we caught up with the minister and former Canadian team captain Morgan Williams, as well as coach Troy Myers. So, Peter, looks like you were pretty useful out there, you know? You weren't just from window dressing.
Well, I don't know about that. For me, it was a real honor to play with Morgan Williams. I mean, Morgan is the best player to ever come out of our province, distinguished himself many times at the national level, international level, and you know, for me this is a bit of a swan song to come out and play a game for my province. It was a real honor, as I said, and I think a lot of the young guys took inspiration from the fact that they were playing with one of the best national players certainly that we've ever produced, and Morgan has raised the standard of level in our level of rugby in our province and across the country, and we're seeing that now. We're seeing young players coming out of every province, including our own in Nova Scotia, playing at the national level, and in large part that's because of the inspiration of players like Morgan.
Now that he's buttered you up like that, what did you think of his game?
No, I mean, it was great to play again with Peter. I mean, we played together in the early 90s and through on there, so to get back together and we'll have a chat over a beer and stuff. But you know, coming back and it's, you know, an old reunion. Troy's there, JD's there, Pete's there. For me, you know, it's an honor coming back and always putting on this jersey, because I mean, this was the platform that I went to the national team, and so I'm so much indebted to the province of Nova Scotia, and you know, just to see now the numbers that they brought with that they came up here with it's good. It shows that there is a program going on there, and I've been back and done a clinic there, and hopefully you know, further down the summer I'll be back there and doing more stuff to help develop rugby in Nova Scotia, because, you know, looking after the guys that looked after me so long ago is something that it's a debt that I owe, and I feel that, you know, I'll continue to pay it as long as I can run, I guess, kind of.
Well, you always put the NS in the back of your jersey, and I know people from Nova Scotia appreciated that. You say it's your swan song. If Troy picked up the phone and the schedule worked out, would you come out again?
Only if they really needed me, and if there wasn't younger guys that were ready to play ahead of me. Look, Troy Myers is a great friend, as is Morgan, and this to me was a real treat. You know, it's a break away from you know, some of the pressures of what I've been doing. There's a real military connection too with rugby in Nova Scotia. A long time, a lot of guys that I played with served their country in military uniform as well. So I'll always love to come out and play whenever I can. It's finding the time these days, and these scrums are a little different than the ones in Ottawa.
Sure. Now, would you like to see rugby instituted like it is in the U.S. Armed Services? They all have big teams, and that's a big part of their rivalry. You think you could cook something like that up in Canadian Services?
Well, you know what? Royal Military College down in Kingston has a very active program. I was speaking with their coach just this weekend down at their graduation. Morgan Williams has been down there and put on a clinic a couple of times. Al Sharon has offered to do the same. So there is a strong connection between the military, and they have even kicked the ball around at Kandahar Airfield, I know. So rugby is a growing sport in our country. It's going to continue to grow, and that's a good thing, as long as we have players like Morgan that are willing to put back into the game, guys like Troy that'll go out and coach and provide that kind of leadership on and off the field. We're going to continue to put competitive teams on the field internationally.
Morgan, are we going to be seeing you out in a Celtics jersey again this season?
I'm not sure. I think right now the main priority, I think for us as the national team is the Churchill Cup, and then I'm actually suiting up for the Classics on the 28th against the U.S. Classics in Victoria. So so that should be fun. But I'm not sure. I mean, if there's time in July, if I'm around, you know, I'll always jump in if needed.
It's got to be some kind of a record. Guy's retired, comes back, plays sevens. He's a coach. I mean, you're just getting it all done.
I know. It's hard to stop, and I've got a very weak tolerance to say no. So, I love rugby, and anything that'll help, progress the game anywhere in Canada. I'm always there, even though my wife doesn't like me sometimes.
Well, great show, guys, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Troy, it looked hopeful in the first half, 9 points in the early going, and, I think you probably always suspected the second half would be a little tougher.
Well, exactly, Doug. I mean, the fitness just wasn't there in the second half. I think when, our commitment to the ball in the tackle was good, we were really good on the deck. Sooner or later we ran out of gas, and we knew that was an issue. We also, bringing some of these older players in, I mean, fitness is always something, with Morgan not included in that comment because he's a star when it comes to fitness, but at the same time we knew that was going to be a problem. But this game is really not about winning today. It was more about celebrating our past, which people like Morgan and Pete and also J.D. Wheeler we brought back in to celebrate also our future. And we had some good young guys. We brought up our key under 20 players. And this is a 3-year plan to be national champions. And I'm pretty pleased with it. I wish the score would have been a little bit lower, but we're happy with what we've achieved today.
And, speaking of J.D. Wheeler, I mean, he was getting some stuff done there in the first half, and he was making the tackles, and looked like it was almost going to go over at one point, so you must have been pleased with that.
Yeah, true. He was close a few times, and J.D., the most prolific try scored everywhere a Celtics jersey, and I thought he was going to get himself 2 more today. Just wasn't in the cards, but it was great to see him out again.
And what about the kid MacKay? Would you sign him on again if you had a chance?
Well, I think he lived up to his job description as Minister of Defense, and he fit in with our flatline defense, and everything went well. And I would use Pete anytime. I'm not sure he can fit it into his schedule, but we'll see how that goes.
Now, moving forward, how do you replace having Morgan in the lineup? That's quite a handy fly half you had out there today.
Yeah, that was a real treat, and I think the young guys really benefited from playing with Morgan. Morgan's one of those great players that makes everybody else play better, and we saw that today. He was a real catalyst for performance. And Morgan, though, as you know, is getting into the busy season, so with the Churchill Cup and the NE4, so I'm sure he'll have other things to do too, but if we can get him back, we will. And I happen to believe that the best part of coaching is you have to be a shameless recruiter. So I'll stay on the phone.
Well, Troy, great to have you up in Ontario, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks for coming out.
In Brantford, Doug Cross for Rugby Canada News.